For years now, lost media has been a hot topic on the internet. Typically, people have their favorite pieces, typically well-known pieces like Hitogata, Clockman, or Metropolis. Still, there are many more pieces that, while not as well known, deserve not only equal time in the spotlight, but just as much chance to be found. These are those pieces. This is lesser-known lost media.
Welcome back, Chimera crew, to Volume 73 of Lesser Known Lost Media. If you're new to the channel, well, lucky you, you have 72 other videos to watch after this one. But if you've been with us before, you know how this works. We cover 5 pieces of lost media that you just don't hear about on YouTube as much as some of the more popular ones like Clockman or Saki Sanabashi. As always, the way this works is we begin with 4 mundane, safe for work, average pieces of lesser known lost media, and then we end with a 5th, spicier piece. Just a quick announcement before we get started on this one. The 3 winners of the mini giveaway from last episode, you guys have yet to email me your addresses so that I can mail you your minis as of the recording of this, so please be sure to do so. I know I didn't put a time limit on it, but we'll say you have a week from the day this one comes out to go ahead and message me your address so that I can send your mini out, or we'll use them in the next giveaway. Again, so I know you guys have reached out to me on the channel, but you have not emailed me in order to give me the shipping address to your address so that I can send you the minis. And that, of course, is you can go to the links in the description of this, and my email address is in those links on my all my links page, so please go ahead, send me that message so that I can get you your minis. With that being said, let's get started. At number 1, we have Hourglass, a lost early NBC variety television series from 1946 to 1947. Hourglass was a variety television series that aired on WNBT, which ended up becoming WNBC4 in New York, though it is reported that the series aired on some Schenectady and Philadelphia stations beginning on May 9, 1946 and ending on March 6, 1947. Its contemporary notability comes from the fact that it was the first variety television series to have been televised. It was also the first series in the field of entertainment to reach an hour long in program length, along with it being the first series to have its own television star. The series was produced by the J. Walter Thompson Agency and was sponsored by Standard Brands, who advertised their Chase, Sanford, and Tenderleaf tea brands. Talks between Standard and Thompson on how the series should have been formatted lasted a long time, up to many months. Eventually the groups decided on a variety series, so there could be a large amount of room for experimentation on different types of segments. Many famous stars at the time made appearances on Hourglass. Ventriloquist stars Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy starred in a couple of episodes, comedians Doodles Weaver, Bert Lahr, and Jerry Colonna appeared, and singers Peggy Lee and Dennis Day had roles in the show as well. Television director Ira Skutch claimed the series was so important because it was aired on a network. Even though a few series had already been aired before this one, it was entirely produced by an agency, and because it had commercials, enabling the crew and the sponsors to earn money. However, behind the scenes, the series' production was a troubled one. Edward Sobel, one of the series' producers, found it a hassle to fully achieve the physicality of the actors' performances due to how limited the studio the crew filmed at was. Small stages, cameras that did not capture enough detail, and severe lighting plagued the production, with the first few episodes becoming television flops. A critic writing for Variety claimed the crew did not know what to do with the talent they had, and that they were told to stand in front of a camera and do their stuff. Additionally, the series' comedians were criticized for the pacing of their jokes, prompting Edward to instruct the comedians to increase the pace of their routines, along with shortening their segments down to 3 minutes. Around November of 1946, specifically with the premiere of the episode on the 14th, the series started to find its own footing, with Edgar Bergen becoming the series' host, and newer episodes were much more positively reviewed. However, even with its increase in quality, the series was still too expensive for its own good. Standard Brands reportedly used $200,000 to fund the series, which was described as being too high a budget for a television show at the time. Adding to this, musicians were forbidden forbidden from singing their songs on television due to a rule by the president of the American Federation of Musicians that songs could not be sung live until television networks and the Federation would agree on the matter, thus reducing the crew to lip-syncing and using pre-recorded music. Finally, even with Standard Brand's satisfaction with the product sales and the quality of the show itself, they were still on the edge about funding a television series that would not be broadcast to a large number of homes across the nation. As mentioned, the series was reported to have only been broadcast on New York and Philadelphia stations. The series was canceled in February of 1947 and broadcasted its last episode on March 6th of the same year. So, is anything available from this? Well, as kinescopes were only invented later in 1947 after the end of Hourglass, no video elements are known to exist from the series. While 33 out of the 44 known audio recordings of the series are known to have been archived in the Library of Congress, they are not publicly available for an individual to easily access, and thus this is completely lost. I definitely think it's interesting, not so much that the video elements were lost, that makes perfect sense due to the time this came out, but the fact that the audio recordings at the Library of Congress, why if we're archiving all this information, is it not made publicly available and easily available? Government could easily, Library of Congress could easily make a website where they document all these things, they digitize their archives and let the public view them. I see no reason why they couldn't do that, and it seems like this is one of those cases where, while it wouldn't be completely found, it would at least be more found than it currently is if people were just given access to what, just in all honesty, is a piece of television history, and there's no need to lock it up away from the public. At number 2 we have And Memory Will Recall in the Sounds, a lost Soviet biographic drama film from 1987. And Memory Will Recall in the Sounds, aka Roses for the Maestro, is a 1987 Soviet biographic drama film that was directed by Timofey Levchuk and produced by Dovzhenko Film Studio. It starred the famous people's artist of the Ukrainian SSR, Fedor Strehun. The film tells the story of Ukrainian composer and folklorist Mykola Lysenko, who founded the National School of Composers. The film also featured his music and Ukrainian folk songs. A detailed plot summary is available on the book Soviet Feature Films Annotated Catalog 1986 to 1987, page 69 through 70, and it reads as such. Beginning in the 20th century, the already not young Ukrainian composer Mykola Lysenko sets off for a walk around Kiev, and this journey through the city turns into a kind of reflection on his life for the composer. The whole way, memories persistently bring him back to the past, first to his childhood, to the village of Herinki in Poltava Oblast. There he was friends with peasant children. There he first heard wonderful Ukrainian songs, and as a young man, he met his first love, a peasant girl named Natasha. Then he remembers May 1861, when he attended the funeral of the great Ukrainian poet Taras Shevchenko. Nikolay stood with friends next to the Kobzar's coffin and made a vow to himself to someday set the poet's verses to music. Then he recalled his trips abroad and to Russia, meeting with great Russian composers Peter Tchaikovsky, Alexander Borodin, Modest Mussorgsky, the persistent work of the opera Taras Bulba, and finally, the images of two women, Olga O'Connor and Olga Lipska, who gifted him with love, happiness, and inspiration. The film was shot in Kiev, Hinrink, and St. Petersburg. The script for the film was written in 1979 through 1982 by Ivan Drach and Ivan Mikolajchuk during a period of their internal immigration. The film was theatrically released on August 14th of 1987. It was also released in Ukrainian language in the same year. After the completion of its theatrical release, the film has never been broadcast on television or released on home video. There is a lot of incorrect information about the film online. For example, entirely different films or YouTube videos are published on websites using the name of this film, but the actual film is completely lost. I find the fact that this film was lost at all is very interesting due to the fact that, it was made in a time where film preservation was very easy. There was nothing that was really preventing it from being broadcast on television or on home media release. It does not appear to have been a particularly controversial film. And so the fact that it's just gone missing after its initial theatrical release with no explanation beyond the fact that maybe, it was Russia in the 80s, who knows. But that was kind of near the fall of communism too, though, so I'm not sure why this one's lost, but hopefully we find it someday. And at number 3, we have America's Next Muppet, a lost test pilot for a cancelled ABC reality parody series from 2006. America's Next Muppet was a planned but cancelled parody series inspired by reality TV competition shows, which would have featured popular Muppet characters. A pilot for the show was produced but never aired, and no part of it has resurfaced. The Muppets are an incredibly popular brand created by Jim Henson and feature a colorful cast of characters spanning across decades of TV shows, from The Muppet Show to Sesame Street to Fraggle Rock. One show that was planned to be added to that list was America's Next Muppet, a parody of reality TV shows like America's Got Talent or American Idol. The show had a pilot filmed in the summer of 2005 to pitch to Disney, and they loved it, so they made a deal to make a 5-episode miniseries to air on ABC. The apparent plot of the show was Kermit and other classic Muppets setting up a talent show for a new Muppet to join the crew. New Muppets must perform in front of the judges, Kermit, Miss Piggy, and Gonzo. The judges would review the acts to see if the participants could be in their troupe. Other Muppets were apparently going to set up the challenges behind the scenes and keep the show afloat. The show was even planned to be interactive, where the viewers would vote for who they thought should win. However, the show was never aired, and it is assumed to be cancelled as it was nowhere to be seen in ABC's summer 2006 lineup. It's not quite known what happened to the show, but most people assume it was simply scrapped during filming. No footage or images from the pilot have been seen, and Disney hasn't mentioned the series publicly, making it unlikely it would ever be found. As a kid in the 90s, I loved the Muppets, I loved Sesame Street, I loved Fraggle Rock, and I'm happy that the Muppets have gotten a bit of a resurgence lately. A lot of stuff like Muppets or Looney Tunes kind of fell out of popularity, and I'm glad to see the Muppets making a return. I would have been just graduated high school when this show should have come out, and I definitely would have given it a watch back then. If I had to guess why this one was scrapped, I think the whole thing that they were doing it kind of American Idol style, they wanted it to be interactive. I think that was just too much to do because these Muppet shows probably take quite a while to film due to their heavy use of puppetry, and I would just think making an interactive show where the show would come out every week and would have to adapt based on the audience's input, I just don't think it was probably feasible at the time. But I'd love to see them do it in the future, maybe without the interactive element, just to make it a little bit more simple, but I would love to see this show. Alright guys, at number 4 we have Grand Theft Auto 5. Lost behind-the-scenes footage for development of an open-world video game from the early 2010s. Grand Theft Auto 5 is a 2013 open-world action-adventure video game developed by Rockstar North and published by Rockstar Games, and if you're anything like me or a good chunk of the country, you're still playing it to this day on the most recent gen of consoles. It is the 7th main installment and 15th overall installment in the massively popular Grand Theft Auto video game series. Many games by Rockstar are known for having official content that has been cut or will never see the light of day, with one of these being the behind-the-scenes footage of Grand Theft Auto 5's development that was going to be used for a cancelled making-of documentary. On April 11th of 2024, a Q&A interview with the voice actors hosted by Streamly was made. Sean Fontino, Ned Luke, and Stephen Ogg talked and revealed some antics that happened during the making of Grand Theft Auto 5. During this Q&A, Stephen Ogg, the voice actor for Trevor, says that behind closed doors, a string of stupid challenges took place while the team wasn't working. Ned Luke, the voice actor for Michael, then makes the claim that a behind-the-scenes camera was running the whole time. Luke then adds on to the claim that they never used the footage after development finished. Quote, "What's nuts to me is that behind-the-scenes camera we had going the whole time, and they never did anything with it. That stuff's gold." Ogg then follows up with the claim, explaining that at one point they discussed how cool it would be if they made a making-of documentary for Grand Theft Auto 5. After the interview, video game news sites flocked with articles about this revelation. Many users online were confused on why the footage was never shown, but many Grand Theft Auto fans had gotten to the theory that Rockstar wanted to keep the development private, since they're known for rarely revealing anything about how they develop their games. As of today, the behind-the-scenes footage has never been released online, and will be unlikely to do so because of Rockstar's intentions to keep behind-the-scenes footage behind the curtains. This one is definitely, technically, it's not a newer piece of lesser-known lost media, as it's from, around 2013, but it's one we just found out about, and nothing wets the palates of the lost media community more than being informed that there's something we didn't even know was missing, and it's been withheld from us this entire time. So I'm sure the search for this one will gain traction. It might not even be lesser known for very long, but, you heard it here first, guys, right? Hopefully. I love the Grand Theft Auto series. I'm excited for Grand Theft Auto 6 whenever it does come out. My introduction to the series was Grand Theft Auto 3, and it's still like a definitive memory for me, playing through that intro mission where you had to drive, it was a standard driving mission. You had to drive from point A to point B and then to point C. But then when that mission opened up and you had the whole world before you to explore, that was a game changer. Grand Theft Auto 3 to me is one of the greatest games of all time. I do also love Vice City just for the aesthetic. I mean, you can see, by the Hawaiian shirt wearing monkey that represents me. I'm a big fan of that aesthetic. And so if I had to rank my top 3 Grand Theft Auto games, it would be Grand Theft Auto 3, then Grand Theft Auto 5, and then Vice City. And while 5 might not be my favorite, it is, objectively a better game than 3. 3 just gets that top spot because it was such a game changer in the open world gaming, but 5 is great, and that is proved by the fact that its online game is still getting updates to this very day. Tons of people are still playing it, so much that it has delayed the production of Grand Theft Auto 6, much to my dismay. So the fact that there is footage out there that was being filmed during the production that's never been used, never been released to the public, I'd love to see this one. Alright guys, we're going to get to that spicy piece in just a second. Just wanted to give you a brief reminder. If you enjoy this content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Consider joining either as a YouTube member or a Patreon. Just for $1 a month, you get access to all the behind-the-scenes footage, all the members-only videos. Sorry, I don't have behind-the-scenes footage. I don't know why I said that. But you get access to all the member-exclusive videos. And also, if you just want to make a one-time donation, I mean, sure, you can leave a super thanks here on YouTube, or you could head on over to eBay and Mercari, and you could actually purchase one of my minis. So you have something tangible that you get for your money, and you're supporting the channel. So with all that being said, guys, let's get to that 5th spicy piece. At number 5, we have Apt Pupil, lost production material for an unfinished film adaptation of Stephen King's novel from 1987. In 1987, British director Alan Bridges began to film an adaptation of Stephen King's 1982 novella, Apt Pupil. The story centers around Todd Bowden, a teenager who realizes that a man who lives in his town is actually a 1940s German war criminal named Kurt Dusander. Todd blackmails Dusander into telling him the gory details of his time as one of those guys in exchange for not turning him over to the authorities. Over time, his stories take their toll on Todd, and he eventually turns to unaliving homeless men to relieve his nightmares. Child actor Ricky Schroeder played Todd, while British actor Nicole Williamson played Dusander. Only about 3/4 of the film, approximately 40 minutes, were completed before the production ran out of money, and Bridges was forced to abandon the film. The budget of the film was $14 million, but only $9 million was spent. There was also a lawsuit because there was a scene where the actors had to be stripped naked during a shower scene, but the lawsuit was determined to be without merit. However, the naked shower scene wasn't the only controversy surrounding this movie. There was a lot of imagery concerning that one particular German political party. The film had too much of it, and references to what they did to people all over Europe in a certain kind of camp that is in the Apt Pupil film. This imagery was used to show what the main character Todd Bowden and his friend from Germany had in common, but it was still deemed to be gratuitous. Another controversy was the homophobia present in the film. Carolyn Picard and David Frank write that the face of evil is represented in the film as, that German political party, oft labeled as quintessentially innate and supernaturally crafty, but also in a more subterranean way, dangerously blurring the boundaries between homoeroticism and homosexuality. The film also expounds its connection between homophobia and the Holocaust. I think I can get away with saying it once. Now, while the novella would later be successfully adapted to film by Bryan Singer in February of 1998, starring Brad Renfro as Todd and Ian McKellen as Doosander, nothing has been seen or heard of the unfinished film by the public, and its current whereabouts are unknown. It was rumored that some of the screening tapes of the film circulated at a convention in 1987 and 1988, but nothing has surfaced since. Stephen King has called what he saw of the film really good. Also, just to note, apparently there was a lawsuit for the finished film as well, also regarding the shower scene against a number of people, including Singer. So apparently that shower scene, just super controversial. Don't be filming kids in the showers, guys, okay? But, it's definitely interesting to see what this could have been, specifically because it kind of got the thumbs up from Stephen King, who is notoriously known to hate film adaptations of his work. So if he was a fan, that probably means it was pretty cool. But yeah, if there was that much controversy before the film was even finished, who knows what would have been, this would have been even spicier on this list if it had actually managed to be released, probably. Still, it would be interesting to see. Also, a note I found in another article is that they actually tried to pick back up production of this original film. However, Schroeder had aged too drastically in the year between them running out of money and trying to come back to it. That is the problem with young actors, is they do, especially in that age bracket, they do tend to grow up pretty quickly. So unfortunately, they were not able to resume, and the 40 minutes of footage was just left abandoned. And that's our video, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's see if we can share this video around. Get this video 1,000 views. Now that we've got the channels up to the 1,000 needed subscribers to be fully monetized, let's work on getting the view count up on these. In the comments, let me know what kind of content you want to see, what you think is going to get the views on this channel. If you have a topic, let me know, whether that's lost media or something else. If you have a story you would like me to read, I do have a subreddit, Mr. Sean Reads Stories. That can be anything from a creepypasta to your own neckbeard or RPG horror story. Just honestly leave it there. I'll take a look. If I think it's good for the channel, you might see it here. And until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean. This is Chimera Miniatures, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the show, we hope you'll stick around. Mr. Sean is here to entertain the crowd. We've got a bit of everything, cause everything's allowed. Chimera Miniatures is here to stay, we hope we make you proud. From neckbeards antics to RPG fright, creepypastas creeping in the dead of night. Join us now, let's laugh and play. In this crazy world, we'll find our way. Chimera Miniatures, a journey awaits. From tales of the strange to the wildest debates. With laughter and stories that make our hearts race. Join Mr. Sean on this curious chase.